Welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to go over 3 things you can learn from watching the great Lionel Messi. Now we know how amazing Messi is, and you can probably name his best attributes from the top of your head, from his amazing dribbling and close control with the ball to his passing and vision on the pitch. Messi has many aspects to his game that makes him better than a lot of players, if not all players. But besides the obvious things that me and you know, what are some of the slightly hidden things that you can take away and use in your game? And so let's dive into this. Just quickly before we dive in, if you do find this video valuable, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It'll be much appreciated. Also, if you are interested, I do have a football training community that helps grow and improve players. Or even if you're not actually a player, but you still want to improve, maybe you play six-a-side or you play with your friends, but you still want to grow and be better, then you might want to join. However, this is for serious people that really want to grow and be better on the pitch. And so if you're someone that's not really serious about improving, then maybe it's not for you. However, if you do want to check it out, here's the first link in the description. Okay, so one of the first things we can learn from watching Messi is that he has world-class football patience. Now, football patience is your ability to wait and use moments to create things on the pitch. And so if there's one thing that you and I know Messi for, it's for the moments that he creates on the pitch. Now, if you watch Messi, whether he's on the ball or not, he doesn't really rush into play and he chooses his moments wisely. Whether he runs past 3 or 4 opponents and scores a goal, or something small like a quick nutmeg, he creates these things by having the intent, but also the patience to wait for those opportunities and moments so he can take advantage of because he has the ability. Now you might be thinking, well then most players are patient in that sense, and the truth is not really. Yes, the very top players might have this level of patience, but most players actually don't, but this doesn't make them bad players or anything. They're still really good players. It's just that a lot of players will try to force things in a match. For example, a striker always making the same direct run in behind, or a winger doing the same thing where he's just always cutting inside and always taking shots over and over again. Even though the player might be capable of doing that, it's still important to understand when the opportunity arises, and decision making does have a part to play. But ultimately, you want to be more patient with your play because that will lead to you making better decisions. Now, you can't really train being patient by yourself. It's just one of those things where if you're in a match, just try to remind yourself to be more patient and see opportunities. In some ways, it is more of an instinctive thing to be relaxed and patient, and then suddenly to be aggressive and creative because you see an opportunity. I do sometimes struggle with this when I play myself because it is very much ingrained to how you are as a player. We've been taught, especially as attacking players, to just always create on the pitch and make things happen. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is right to a certain degree. However, if you want to go from a good player to a very good player, you do need to add a bit of patience in your play. And so Messi shows us this time after time at the highest level. The second thing you can learn from watching Lionel Messi is that ball control is foundational. Now we all should know pretty much what ball control is. It's the ability to move the ball in any way you want at any given time. So basically to fully manipulate the ball at any time. Now just think about how important that is. Minus passing, shooting, heading, or anything where the ball leaves your body, if you just fully mastered ball control, there actually wouldn't be a lot of things that you couldn't do. Things like his first touch, his dribbling, or any sort of turn or movement he does with the ball will always be amazing because he has such good control of the football. Now you might be thinking, well, it's pretty obvious that Messi has good ball control and we should all work on our ball control. But I'm not saying we can't learn to improve our ball control from watching Messi, which is true anyways. Instead, I'm saying that ball control could be all you basically need because it's so foundational, it makes other attributes better. And so Messi doesn't need to perform a lot of tricks. Whether he can do a lot of tricks or not, then again, it's probably not his style to do skills or tricks. But even if he could do all the tricks in the world, it really wouldn't matter because his ball control is so good, it therefore makes his dribbling so good. And at that point, he can just dribble past any defenders like we've seen him do over the years. There's players out there that can perform all sorts of fancy tricks, but their ball control isn't really that good. And often these players aren't really taken seriously, or they just can't perform at a high level because they've taken something that isn't foundational like skills above something foundational like ball control. And so what ends up happening is that these players just slowly die out because past the tricks and skills, their foundational attributes aren't really that good. Now I'm not saying don't do tricks. I love tricks and I perform tricks myself when I play, and if it's your identity as a player, then that's great. But all I'm saying is from watching Messi, if you was to dedicate time into training your ball control and really improving it, you'll become a much better overall player and you'll get so much more of a return on your time because you'll be improving things like your first touch and your dribbling as you improve your ball control. Now the final thing we can learn from watching Lionel Messi, which I feel is actually pretty important to talk about, especially if you're more of a shorter player or a player that's underdeveloped physically, and that's being tenacious makes you physically stronger on the pitch. Now, of course, tenacity is your ability to be resilient and determined and have this type of never give up mindset. And so you might be wondering how something like tenacity, which is more of a mental attribute, make you physically stronger. And of course, being tenacious doesn't grow your muscles or anything like that. But if you look at Messi, who by the way isn't the biggest or the strongest, but he's always able to compete physically against stronger opponents. And he does that by using his tenacity to overwhelm his opponents. Now you might say, well, Messi has very good leg strength and he has a very good center of gravity. And yes, of course, those things do help him be more physical on the pitch. But if you watch him closely, especially if he's protecting the ball or when he's closing opponents down, he holds himself very well physically, to the point where he actually gets very comfortable with physical contact from opponents. Not because he's really strong physically, but more because he's very tenacious with the ball and he has a hint of aggression as well. It's almost like when he has the ball, he says to his opponents, you may be stronger than me physically, but you're not going to get this ball off me unless you foul me. And so almost in this weird type of way, Messi actually gets stronger in physical battles on the pitch. And I've seen this with players that I've played with and watched, where upon first judgment, physically they don't look quite developed, but once they get on the pitch and they start to play, what they lack in strength and power, they make up for with high amounts of tenacity. And so if you're more of a smaller player, or even if you're quite physically strong anyways, it's still really good to be tenacious on the pitch. And so those are three somewhat not obvious things we can learn from watching Lionel Messi play. Of course, there's still a lot of things we can learn from watching him play. Things like staying on your feet when challenged and not taking things personal when you're on the pitch. If there's things that you found that are really important from watching him play, feel free to put them in the comments. But I hope you found this video valuable and I'll see you next time.